How's it going, guys? Linux Daily back with another video. Today's video I'm going to be going over kind of how I have my Gentoo Linux plus DWM set up. I have it set up fairly minimally. It doesn't even have a display manager. It boots right up to a TTY. You log in and type in start X. So it's fairly minimal. I try to keep everything kind of plain and simple. So first thing I kind of want to show would be the ST. That is how I get my color scheme. As you see, I'm running kind of like a quote-unquote vaporwave kind of feel. If you go to our backgrounds directory, I'm using this b.jpg. Now it's spanning across all four monitors. So when you do a screenshot and do a FEH on that, you'll see it's using that, just kind of spanning it across all the monitors. Looks kind of cool. So I'm gonna remove this screenshot here real quick. Alright, so if we do if we go to our ST directory, this is pretty much handling all the terminal color scheme. If you see right here, these colors right here, it's pretty much all handled by terminal. Right here is where my colors are. If you wanted to use this color scheme, here are the hex codes for that. I will be putting this build on GitHub here pretty soon. My alpha is just set at 0.8. I find that to be quite nice with this theme. Of course, I'm not using the X resources file. This is pretty much built off of Luke Smith's build of ST. It pretty much is Luke Smith's build, except I've changed the fonts. If you go up here, he had his font at like Font Awesome, or I just set it back to monospace since I don't have Font Awesome. And I've changed some of the values over here to kind of fine tune it to how I like. I've obviously changed the color scheme to that. And then I've changed a few of the keybinds, but it's been a while and I don't quite remember. I've had this build for quite some time now. But it is my ST build that handles most of the colors, since I'm not doing the X resources or X defaults. So now that I showed you that, there's not a whole lot going on in the build of ST, just a simple terminal. It opens up really quick, probably because it's written in C. But if you go over to my Dwm Config, here's where all the important stuff happens. You go to config.h and do edit anyway, because I must have closed out of it without saving at one point. But this is pretty much where all my keybinds at. And I've set my my font size to 9 over here. That affects up here in this bar. It was too small, so I increased it a little bit so I can read it a little better. It's a 27-inch monitor. All this stuff is relatively stock. You go down here, and here's where I've added a few custom keybinds. I've commented a few of them out. This is from that video I uploaded about a week ago, right here. I am running the Surf browser now, so you see that there. Of course, you got VNC Viewer. I do not use this one anymore, so I can probably go ahead and just get rid of it here. Actually, I'm going to keep it in just for right now, because I might do something again with that. KeyPass XC opens up. If we go down here to where the keybinds are actually being used, this stuff up here is relatively stock, except I've commented these layouts out, and I'm only keeping the tiling layout. I've only used the tiling layout here, so I don't feel the need. I need to keep those, so I commented them out. I don't like just deleting things from the source. I'll comment them out in case if I ever want to put them back in. But if we see over here, my mod plus I opens up the web browser, which is Surf. Alright, kind of scroll this down here. VNC view for let's mod V, that is not gonna work because I don't have the script to set up to work like that. But if you do mod K to open up the password manager, everything just, it's all quick. Volume down and volume up is mod Q and mod W. Of course, the volume thing up here is not quite working at this time. I still have to debug that, but that's beyond the point of this video. And of course, mod Shift Q is going to quit out of DWM. So that's pretty much all the custom keybinds that I have made. I've changed a few things down here. A little bit. Not a whole lot. Probably some layout stuff. Oh, mod Z right here is going to be my screenshot. So of course I showed you that screenshot. It's running GNOME screenshot. So if we go over here and do we FEH on that screenshot, of course we just captured that. So that is that. Now of course, to go to all the different tags, there's just mod and the number, and then 0 obviously shows all. So that's all of my keybinds. So we can quit out of that. So another pretty important thing in my setup is the ZSHRC. I'm running the Oh My ZSH plugin. It lets you get themes and a bunch of different stuff for the Z shell. And of course I'm running the dual J theme. That provides this kind of layout right here. I like the Z shell because I like when you if you go over here and do like a sudo emerge and you don't remember what your last emerge command was, you just press the up arrow on the keyboard and it will fill in your last few commands that you have run that had emerge in them, which I quite like that. I use that feature all the time. I have the Bira theme commented out because that used to be my old theme when I was running Arch Linux, but now I'm running Gentoo and I felt that I should probably change that. If we go down here, I kind of put the neofetch right in. Now neofetch usually has a lot more of these little options, but I've commented a few of them out in the config file because I don't care about seeing my font, what font I'm using every single time I open up my terminal. I do like seeing how much memory is being used and the CPU, of course the uptime, but that's that. Of course I got a few aliases down here, making emerge, sudo emerge, so I don't have to run sudo every single time. And then these few ones that bring me to like DWM, it brings me there. The ST one brings me there, and of course we got the kernel config. Of course it's CONF, my bad. But it will change you to that directory and run make menu config, and my color scheme actually is really blinding when you do these end curses menus like that. So that's kind of a downside about my color scheme. But that is the ZSHRC. I use ZSH over Bash because mainly because of the themes. Even though it adds a little bit more bloat to your system, it's not enough to really make it that much noticeable. Now we do have some latency because of the neofetch running, but I will live with it because I think it looks cool and I'd rather have it on my system. So pretty important thing is the scripts folder, which is going to be in /.progs/scripts. There's a few of them here. Auto run is going to, it pretty much mounts my file server. Now I changed just before the video. This is actually not the password. I store it encrypted, but I just wanted to show you the command that it runs. It sets my wallpaper, executes the status bar, disowns the status bar, and then runs no blank. I'll show you what no blank is here fairly soon. But I have this running, I run this manually. I don't have the auto start patch for DWM. So I run it manually because I don't want it to run all the time. I do have a few patches in DWM. Now this is not based off of anybody's. I just downloaded a source from Suckless's website and kind of added a few patches myself. I know for sure it's running the gaps and the swallowing window patch. A good example of the swallowing features, when I did that show that screenshot, it kind of swallowed the window and kind of made the entire terminal the fe window, and then it brings the window back, the terminal back. I should add an alias to bring me directly to my scripts directory, but the bedtime script pretty much allows me to shut down the computer after about 3 hours. I believe that's what that is. I usually run it on the weekends or whatever when I'm watching like a YouTube video. Since my YouTube client is FreeTube, I do quite like that. Bedtime old is the same thing as bedtime, but I think I changed the seconds and I just wanted to change a little thing. This BS script starts a barrier server. Barrier is a service that lets you use the same keyboard and mouse across a LAN, that's local area network. So I can use the same mouse on my laptop that I am on my desktop. It pretty much sets another window up, like another desktop, like, it's hard to explain, like a monitor window. So we can like move the mouse all the way to one side of the screen. You'll be using the mouse on the laptop. Now that just keeps that running. I haven't used it in quite some time. FreeTube script, it pretty much CDs into my FreeTube program and executes it. Now for some reason I couldn't get this to work when I put it into DWM directly in config.h. It wouldn't work, so I made a script and put it in a path. By the way, this whole directory is in the $path right here. The help script pretty much displays my most important keybinds and stuff. Just if I forget something, I could just do that. I haven't updated in a little while. Now, no blank. It's a one-line script that runs xdl tool every 30 seconds to prevent the X server from blanking the screens from inactivity. So I can just keep the monitor windows from not blanking. You just run no blank, it provides no output. You can just do like -z and then bg disown. I usually just run no blank and throw it on workspace 9 so I can close it whenever I want without having to kill the process. And then we have redyt or Reddit. This is a script I got off of GitHub that I modified a little bit to use fe instead of I forgot what it used. XSIV is what it used to use, but I modified it to use let me get this off. It uses by default SXIV as the image viewer, but I modified it to use fe so I don't have to install that. But it pretty much pulls all the pictures from subreddits and like opens them up. It stores them into a cached directory and then deletes it when it's done. It's just pretty much all temporary. So if we do like a Reddit and then Linux memes, it's gonna go ahead and download all the pictures from there and then pull them up in, it used to be SXIV, but now I modified it to do FEH, and then when you close it, it deletes all of them. The status bar, I went over this in a previous video a couple weeks ago, but this is my status bar up here. It just pretty much runs xset root every second and updates my status up there. Pretty simple. That runs, it gets ran by auto run. Surf browser starts my browser. I tie that into mod I in DWM. And then of course we have this st script. Well, I don't know what happened there. That's status bar, surf browser, and then we have update gent. This one pretty much just runs emerge sync and then compiles everything. I just have it in a script so it's easy and convenient. I can just do update gent and it'll start doing its thing. I'm going to cancel out of that because that's probably going to take quite some time. So that's pretty much my setup of Gentoo Linux with DWM. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you in the next one.